Okay, this is the live Q&A. We're going to do this twice a week for a little while. So yeah, join in, ask questions, how to use the software, how to set things up, general questions, anything you need. 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, here we are. What's going on, Dean? Any questions? Oh. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know where we were doing it exactly, but. Yeah. Okay, there. Let me know if you can see it. Sometimes it doesn't work for whatever reason. Streaming to Discord is. Screen sharing has been a struggle on my computer, so I don't know why, but. Yeah, okay. So there it is. Alright, well. Whatever you guys want. Any questions, any examples? I'm here. Alright. Yeah, okay. Um, sure. And what do you have, Dean? Okay. Sure. Okay, so I'll explain it. States is something that I kind of took from coding, um, because indicators and certain things are you put them in states, and it's just a way to code things. So I guess I kind of used that knowledge and applied it to trading signals. So I can explain this for you. Well, here, what are we gonna do? I'll just do a little setup then. Uh, and this will be good. I'm recording it. I think I'm streaming it, but I don't know. So, we'll see. It'll be recorded at least. Okay. So the difference between states and signals in like a simplified, well, I'm going to try to simplify it. Simplified explanation is a signal. I mean, and this will be kind of obvious, but just follow along. So a signal isn't a time, and it doesn't span over a certain amount of time. It doesn't cover multiple bars. A signal is a single event. It happens once, and that's it. You following me? So like this signal, it doesn't. This signal isn't true for 10 bars, or it's not true for, an hour. You can't say that about a signal because it just happens. It's a single event, okay? But if you look at the background, you can say that the background was green for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bars. So it wasn't true at one single point in time. It was true over a span of time. And then we got the red background. So that was true over a span of time as well. So what I would say is, where my cursor is now, I would say the background is in the green state. And it's staying in that state. It continues to be true as time goes on until the next color background changes to red. And now the background is in the red state, you would say. And that's true, and it stays true until the next background switches back to green. And that's the same in ETM, right? So it's green, and that's always true until a different state takes over, which is the neutral. And that's always true until the red one took over. So does that kind of make a little bit of sense? Okay, yeah. So a signal is a single point in time, a single event where a state is, something that spans over a longer period of time. Now, the background and the ETM, those are simple examples. I could make more complex examples, which I don't know if it'd be advantageous or not, but I'll do it anyways. Okay, so that's what you want to do. So when you're setting up, well, you kind of know how to set up generator, but when you're setting up generator, you want to say, okay, when this single event happens, the state of the background needs to be green, needs to be true. If you call it state 1, you might call it state 1. So when this event happens, the background needs to be true. Or, when this event happens, ETM needs to be true for whatever state you set it to. So that's kind of how you would set it in terms of the indicators that we use. Now, you can get more creative with it, and I'll just do it just kind of for shits and giggles example. So right here, it's called lightning trend. It's like super trend with momentum built in. So you could trade on this as well. I don't have signals set up for it, but you can filter. You can filter the existing ones by this super trend line. But I'm just going to give an example going back to states, okay? So you could say, if I were to set this up to work in generator, you could say right now, it's got 2 colors to it. It's got orange when it's flatter down, and then it turns green when it's up. So then you could say, you could set up a state machine. If I had it coded for that, you could say, hey, when super trend is red, the state of super trend is red, then I only want my signal to be true during that time. So you could set up a state machine or configure a state for super trend where it's either red or green, because you know what I mean, it happens over the span of time. It's not a single event. So yeah, you can get creative with that. I have I don't know if you guys got into my live lines or not. I didn't release the manual ones, but you can set them up. So I have live lines. Oh, it's not going to let me turn on. Okay, there we go. So what happens is when price crosses this line, it's going to throw a signal for you. And you can put it wherever you want. If I were to put it down here and price goes below it, it's going to throw a signal. Or when it goes above it. So that's part of like my live line setup. And I've got a few things, but here I'll so I have like an opening range indicator that I built, and no, we're not even at the opening range time yet. Time is at 7:52. So we're gonna say the opening range was like 7 to 7:30. So 7. Oh crap. Whatever. Is that enough? Okay, 7. Just because I'm in replay, right, and we're not at the real market open. So this is like an opening range breakout indicator. 7 to 7:30. Okay, so here we go. So what it does is it marks the range from 7 to 7:30, and then once the range is completed, it adds a live line on each side at the top and the bottom of the range. So if price crosses that range, it's going to throw a signal. So it's handy to use just if you were to trade the opening range break. It would get a signal, and you could put it in Autobot, and that would be fine. You could also set it up as a state machine. So you could say, hey, once it crosses, it would be called bullish highline cross. So once you get the bullish highline cross signal, you could set that up as a state, and it would stay in that state, and you would say the other state, number 2, would be the bearish low line cross. And then you could say, hey, I only want to take longs after when this is crossed and it doesn't go below the low of the range. So you could set up a state machine for that. So the idea is that it would be state 1 would be true as long as we cross that upper line, and we didn't cross the lower one. You can see the signal happen right there as we crossed it. Then you're in state 1, and as soon as it crosses the lower line, now you're in state 2. So that's a way, like a more complex way, rather than just doing like a background change. It's a more complex way to do it. So you could do it like based on a moving average, based on this opening range, or there's other things, but given the indicator has to be set up to do that, you have to have a signal. So for the super trend, I would have to have it throw a signal every time it changes color, and then that signal is what you would use to configure the states. The first signal would be state 1, and the green signal, when it turned green, would be state 1, and then when it turned red, that signal would be state 2. So, okay. I think I rambled long enough. What do you guys think? Okay. Okay. So, takeaway is, signals are a single event, and states are for things that span over a certain period of time, and they're either one or the other. There can't be there could be an empty state, but there would be either you're above or below, or it's green or it's red, or it's green or it's yellow and it's red. It changes between these states. So, yeah. Okay. Well, any questions about setups, like how to set things up? You want them to set up generator, to do some kind of, or is there a strategy you're looking at doing, or is there something you have in mind that you would like to try to automate? Oh, you're just looking for the delta signals? You have the indicator and everything? Yeah. GAN XAI Delta Pro. Okay. So, yeah. No. Oh, it's there. It's there. And I'll show you. So, because GAN, the AI signals, and especially in NinjaTrader, they use tick data. Okay? And in TradingView, they don't really have tick data, which means every single order is looked at. That's what tick data is. And in TradingView, they kind of just aggregate it to a high and a low and stuff like that. So the difference is that you get a more granular look on NinjaTrader for certain indicators like Delta. Delta looks at every single order that goes through the market, right? So that being said, just give me one sec here. I have okay, that. So, hold on. I'm just pulling up a different window here. Try and show you. I'm just here to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So, yeah. Okay, so do you see this delta signal here? Delta cell? So that's the signal. That's those delta signals you're looking for. And what I wanted to explain was, unlike other indicators, so you'll notice when you load Riptide or when you load ETM, you can look back on the chart and you can see them. You're not going to see them with the GAN AI Delta. You're not going to see the delta prints as soon as you load the chart. Why? Just for computer resources, the way a chart loads, it aggregates the data just like TradingView. So it kind of just compresses it all together and it just gives it a general overview. The problem with that type of data is you can't get the granular type of data that you need to see the delta signals. Okay, so what I'm saying is you're not going to see them. You're not going to load it up and see your delta signals on the chart already. You got to wait for new data to come in. Okay, so you see how we got the time and sales here. It's looking at every single one of these orders. Is it above the bid? Is it below the bid? Where did it get filled? And that's how you calculate delta the most accurate way. All right. So when you load a chart, it's not going to load every single. It's not going to load every single one of these orders because imagine loading a week of NQ with every single order that went through the market, and then trying to track if it was on the bid, if it was on the ask, and that's what we need to calculate delta. But you can load the chart, so you can see them if you really want to. So you go to data series and it's called tick replay. And if you don't see it here, you gotta enable it from the menu, but I can show you that after. So what this is, it's gonna load every single one of those orders. It's gonna load every order that went through the market, where it was, everything like that. So now you can see how you see all the delta signals. When you load tick replay, you can see them all. So I'm wondering if that's the issue, is where you set it up and you think that you don't see it, but you just have to wait for new data to come through the market. Okay. So that's the reason. It doesn't match. Could be each data provider. Do you have level 2 data in NinjaTrader? You have to pay for that separately from the prop firms as well. So I pay for that, and it gives you a more granular look. So I don't know who you're through, but I'm through Apex, which is the Tradevate account. So I go into Tradevate, and I got to pay a little bit for the level 2 data, which is going to give you that really granular look into the data. So that might be why it's different. But when I built it, it was like pretty much exactly the same. You got to realize there's some things that just won't be exactly the same as TradingView, like I said, because TradingView aggregates the data, where NinjaTrader, it kind of looks at it at the most granular view if it has the right feed. So you can't expect things to be 100% the same. I'm not saying one's better than the other. You might find it's better on Ninja or better on TradingView, but just the way they handle data, it's not going to be the same when transferring indicators over like this. But did that answer why maybe you're not seeing them? Okay, so you just got to wait. Once you load your chart, once new data comes in, then you're going to start seeing them. You just won't see them historically unless you have tick replay enabled. But depending on the computer and how many days you have loaded, this can take a really long time. This can take 5 to 10 minutes sometimes to load. If you had 5 days on Gamma Bars 30 or 20 on NQ, it might take up to 5 minutes to load. So I don't recommend it. It loaded quick for me because I'm in replay and it only goes back to, 6 or 7 hours ago. So it loaded pretty quick, as you've seen when I did that. But if you were just on your regular data feed and you had 5 days loaded, it wouldn't have loaded so quick. So yeah, that's just something that you just trust that it's going to come in. And here's the other thing. So if you put a signal in, it's going to turn green if it finds it on the chart, right? So what you have to realize is sometimes you just got to know the name of your signal or wait for it. So it's called delta buy and delta sell. So if I go to data series and I turn off tick replay, okay, now I don't have any of those on there, right? But say I wanted to use that delta buy. Okay, it's going to turn red because it's not found on the chart. But we know why it's not found, because it's going to, we're not loading the historical delta because it just takes a lot of computer resources. So in this instance, you're going to look at this and go, oh shit, did I write it in wrong? Like, what's wrong here? You just got to know, until one of these prints on the chart, it's just going to tell you red. And then same thing with generator. Like if you go to configure states and you want to do, you want to set up a state machine based on those deltas. If the last delta was a positive, then you're in state 1. If the last delta was a negative, then you're in state 2. It might come up red as well until it comes on the chart. Because all this looks for, it looks on the list on the chart. So here's the list of everything on the chart. And because none of these deltas have printed yet, it can't say, hey, I found that on the chart. That doesn't mean you put it in wrong. It just means it's not found on the chart. So just in the event where you're trying to put in signals like delta buy and you're thinking, oh shit, what did I do wrong? Well, you just got to wait for it to print sometimes. So we could do, you want to, here, let me show you a state. You could set up a state based on delta as well. I'll show you, because actually this would be a really good example. So let me show you. So I'm going to go back and load tick replay just because I want to show you. You know what? I should have shut that off before I... Hold on. Yeah, sometimes that happens in replay here. Switch to... Okay. Yeah, sorry, I just glitched up on there. Sometimes it doesn't like always being messed around with in replay. I'll just get these reloaded real quick. Okay, so say you wanted to set up states. What's going on here? All right, just give it a second here to load up. What you could say is you could set up these deltas, even though they're one-time events, you could set it up as a state. So you could say, hey, if the last delta was positive, then we're going to consider ourselves in the positive delta state. Until we get a negative delta, then we'll consider ourselves in the negative state. And then here's a positive, so that would have kicked you into the positive state. And then this would have kicked you back into the negative state. Or state 1, state 2, state 1, state 2, state 1. So you can use them like that as well. And here's how you set it up, if you're wondering. So you go configure states, add. So I might call it delta state. No. No. You can set it up. You can set it up. The only thing is it's going to be red. But it's all it does is it looks on that list. So as soon as, if you have delta sell or delta buy on that list and it's monitoring the list, as soon as it comes up, it's going to recognize it, and it's just going to continue on. You don't have to press apply settings or anything like that. It reads that list in a live format. So, yes. So all you have to understand is it's going to tell you red, but you just have to know that you've typed it in right. And you know, this could be there'll be other indicators, like mine aren't the only ones that can be automated. There's a whole bunch of indicators out there, and it's just good to know that. You know, it just, all it does is it looks at this list, and some indicators, when you load them, they're not always going to print their signals historically for whatever reason. We know why now, why the deltas don't print historically, but, you know, there could be many reasons for it. Sometimes there's signals that print only maybe once or twice a day. So maybe you load up 1 day worth of data, and it just hadn't print that day yet because it's so infrequent. And you would put the name of that in, and it would say red, but if you know your indicator, you know the name. So here's what I would do. Okay. Oh, see, I know it's on the chart, so I know I did something wrong. Delta T by. Oh, okay, here we go. Third time's a charm. Okay. And they're not case sensitive, if you've watched them. So I don't do case sensitivity because that's annoying. So delta state. So then I just set up a state machine for delta. So right now, like, what state will we be in, given this, the way I have this set up? The answer is we are in state 1 out of this. Because why? Because the last signal, which triggers state 1, is a delta. So I'll stay in this, so consider it in state 1 for as long as we don't get a trigger to trigger state 2. So the state 2 trigger is a negative delta. So you could set it up that way, and you almost picture it in your mind as a background. Like, say if that background was changing based on the delta, it would be, you know, green background, red background, green background, red, green. So do you see, that's another way to set up a state machine for the deltas. So I know some people will set it up like if I get a bullish shift signal and a delta, positive delta within 3 bars, then I'll take the signal. So that's another way to consider delta in your signals, but I think the state machine's a cool way to do it as well. Do you understand that one there, Jack? Because that's your indicator. So I didn't know if you ever thought about using it like that. Yeah. So now, right now, we're in state 2. Why? Because delta cell, the last delta was a delta cell. So it just compares these two signals. Whatever one was last, that's the state we're in. And then you just add it. So, okay. Yeah, any other questions about stuff? So far, so good. You guys are keeping me busy. I didn't know if it would be quiet or what. Yeah. Okay. What GAN lines do you use on TradingView? Do you use this the 1 hour or the 4 hour? Okay. Did you specifically set the 4 hour up on NinjaTrader? Okay. All right, then we'll. Okay, let's go to that one then. We'll take a look. It did, when I built it, I mean, I built it side by side, and it was, I think Jack remembers, it was exactly, I think it was within 1 tick of being the same. So, okay, so I haven't used this in a while. I gotta find 60, I gotta change that to 240, because that's gonna be the 4 hour GANs. And I don't know if I have enough data loaded on replay. I might have to. Let me go ahead a couple days. So where are we? Because I need like 20 days. 17. Okay. What do I have? So I have all the way up to the 17th. So I will go to. That should do it. It does. They should be the same. I tried to use the same code for them, but okay, so you need, I think, at least 20 days for the GAN lines to load. So I'm going to put that on there. See if it's going to let me load them or not. Calculating. Okay. Yeah, it's just calculating there. Well, they should be the same. Okay, so here we are. Have GAN lines. Oh, they're starting anyways. I don't see the midline. So do you use the midlines there, Dean? Alright, well, where's the setting for it? Show midlines. Show the labels. I like the labels. Let's try it again. Okay. Oh shit, we can't do it in this because this is replay. Okay, hold on. Yeah, because I wanted to pull up TradingView, but you can't go back this far in TradingView, can you? Well, no, if you load TradingView, it's just going to show you the current. Okay, so because I wanna look at it here and I want to look at TradingView at the same time. So what do you use for for candlesticks, like 2-minute Heikin Ashi or something? Okay, so we'll load that up. NQ. I'll bring up TradingView here. And I'll see, I mean, if it doesn't, then we might be able to change some settings. Okay. I've got TradingView here. Oh, looks like I gotta log in. Oh shit, now I gotta... I don't know why, it always stops me from getting into TradingView like every couple days. Tradovate makes me reload it, so I don't know. Jad, is it the same or not? You use TradingView pretty often. Do you find that they're off, or... I don't even know how to get... Okay, well, how about I look into that for you later, because now I don't even really know how to use TradingView. I'm all confused now. Okay. Vega or Gamma, so I'll ask you the obvious question. Do you have it downloaded or imported into NinjaTrader? There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. So, I mean, I just go to data series, and then Vega bars are there, and then that's it. You do that, load them up, and then they're there. And I also made the transparent candles. I like that, so sometimes I put that on. So, but yeah, it's just right here. If it's not in that list, then there's something wrong. Vega bars, delta bars. It should just be in this list. Delta bar or gamma bars, sorry. I got a bunch of them. Beta bars. But yeah, so are you seeing them in this list? Because then that'll tell me. Yeah. So it's not in it. It's not in indicators. Correct. It's under data series. Yeah, because it's actually a candle type. It's not an indicator of any sort. Yeah. Okay. And then I just had a DM. TRX25. Able to create any workspaces for NQ, ES, GC. I can create a workspace and export it. TRX, but I don't know what you want. So if you let me know, or you give me an idea, if you know some of the indicators, and you just say, hey, I want this, that, and the other, and I could set it all up for you, show you. He's typing, so we'll just give him a sec. But yeah, so all the bar types are always going to be under data series. So the gamma bars, the vega bars, and then under chart style is the transparent candles if you wanted to. Okay, there we go, TRX. How's that? I just set one up with my suite of indicators. Yeah, I can do that. So, it just depends. Like, I mean, my suite of indicators, like, you want every single one of my indicators on one chart. Like, I mean, you're not necessarily going to use them all at the same time. I mean, the way I trade, it's like the best I can do for myself is semi-automation, and I have setups for that, but there's nothing I've found in complete full automation that I could set up. Just the top 3 or 4 gig. Yeah, well, this is going to be it. I mean, it's going to be, if you watch my Riptide video, that's going to be the best one, because I show you, that's kind of like my last video out of all my indicators that I had before we started this all. And in that video, at the end, I show like how I actually use them and how I actually trade. Like if I go to, I think this is the workspace that I have. But yeah, I mean, so it's for TRX, it's just going to be like Riptide. It's going to be the Momo meter at the top, and it's going to be Xcastics at the bottom. Just those 3. I mean, because there's a lot built into them. There's delta built into the momentum. There's volume spikes built into the Xcastics. So, it's really only 3 indicators. But I mean, and then there's a lot built into Riptide as well. So there's a lot of them built in. But just those 3 are really what I use. Are really, like, it's a good spot to start. So yeah, I'm just loading. I don't even know if this will load. June 25. Yeah, you can see how long it's been since I traded. My workspace is still in the June contracts. So yeah, I was just trying to load it up to see, but I got about probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, got about like 60 or 70 charts for this workspace. Takes a little bit. Yeah, you know what? That might not be useful. Any other questions of sorts? I can set it up. Yeah. I was planning to actually have some. I think I mentioned to you. Planning. I would like to send them out with the presets packaged into it. So as soon as you load Autobot, you'll have like, might be example 1, example 2, example 3. Given that the user has all of the indicators downloaded, and has the proper. Yeah, they gotta have the right indicators on the chart as well for that template. Yeah, I'd have to figure that out. The thing is, I don't have a bunch of ways to trade. I guess, you know what, I got a couple things I can do. I just haven't even got there yet. Live auto lines, live X lines was one that I needed for a certain strategy that I know. But you know, we just got to be careful because I don't want people to think, hey, you know, you gave me this strategy and it's not profitable or whatever. It is profitable, or no, they try it and it's not profitable and then they get mad. I want to avoid that as well. So it's kind of a fine line. That's why I like the users doing it more or less, because it's like, hey, this is what I tried. Here's a video of it. Here's my template. But I do plan on doing that as well. There's so many factors in successful trading. So we got to know, like, we just got to have people understand that if we do package some in or whatever, that it's not a guaranteed profit. You're not buying a profit. We're not guaranteeing it. Not to say it won't work, but yeah, and I just want to make that clear because even like I used to stream in my other Discord before I did all this, and I was successful. Like I was on stream every single day, and I would call out all my trades. Hey, I got in here and I got in there, and a couple of people that followed along, they understood why I got in, and it was for every trade I got into was pretty much for the same reason every single day. But there was some people that just like, you know, I would have a winning week. Every single day would be winners. And then they would come, oh, I lost money this week. I said, well, you were on the stream. What happened? And it's just, well, I thought this and I thought that and I thought this. So what I'm getting at is like, even if I were to send something that I had tested and it was successful, a lot of times people are going to find a way to just do it their own way and make it not successful. So it's really hard to even, you know, to send anything, even if you do find success yourself, it doesn't mean somebody else is going to be able to do it the way you do it. So, and fully automated strategies, I mean, they're good and they can be good, but they still need like tweaking. You know what I mean? Like you always got to tweak them a little bit with the market. So you're not like full auto, you're not actually trading, but then you still got to monitor it. Like any, you know, hedge fund or anything that's using algorithms, they didn't just make an algorithm 5 years ago and just set it, and now they're just making free money all the time. They're always adjusting it. They have multiple algos. You know, they'll have a couple live, and then they'll have like 20 or 30 or 40 of the same algo with just a little bit, with the adjustments just a little bit different than the other, just on like a demo account or paper trading, so they can see the skew of what settings are working better, and they can watch it trend. You know, they could say, hey, we're starting to trend where these algo settings are starting to work better than the ones we're using now. You know what I'm saying? So there's always got to be manual intervention. So I just want to make that clear to everybody that like it's just, even if you want to do a full auto, it can be done, but you're always adjusting it. Like an old car, you always got to tune it up here and there. It's never just going to keep running. So, yeah, but as far as our plan, Jat, it's like we just got some things to do. Like I wanted to, once we're up and rolling, I don't even feel like we're rolling yet. I feel like we're just kind of easing into it. And I've still got, there was a couple of important indicators that I wanted to make, which one was live lines, opening range. I've pretty much got there. Now I've got a couple updates for generator to make it just run a little smoother, and a few things in Autobot. And I think really we're working really hard to kind of get past that like speed bump of this initial launch and the initial little things. Like you'll find if 5 people have the same comment about an indicator, like, hey, it should be like this. Okay, well, you know, if 5 people have that comment now, then maybe 100 people will have it if we get bigger. So we kind of wanted to fix those things or update them before, you know, we grow too big. But once we get to the point where like everything's running really good and we've got a lot of the indicators that we want, and then we'll spend more time making videos and creating templates, and I'll spend a week on replay with 20 different strategies, and I'll find something, you know, with different indicators. I'll use this and that indicator and we'll find something, and I'll set out a template with that. So I think as time goes on, we do plan to do more back testing ourselves and send out more templates. So that's kind of like the plan over the next couple months. But like I said, my father passed, so I'm going to have to go and be away from the computer here for a couple of weeks or a month. I have to go across the country and deal with some things. So I was really pushing to get a couple things done before I had to go do that. So that's kind of where we are there. But yeah, I mean, I do plan to have a spot for more templates for people to make it easier. But yeah, I mean, well, it's a lot for people, right? A lot of people haven't even used NinjaTrader, so I mean, to go from never using NinjaTrader to figuring out how to like build your own algos or whatever you want to call it, it can be complex. I understand. So you know, like I said, kudos to everybody who's taken on the challenge and learning things. It's not simple at first, but you know, it can be done. But yeah, so if yeah, TRX, this is what I got. Okay. So okay. You know how many times I went on mic, I did some one-on-ones with people, and it's like same thing. It just needs that like energy. Sometimes I'll show up and they'll be like, "I swear it wasn't working when I contacted you." I said, well. So yeah. Yeah, sometimes yeah. Okay, well, save your right click, save your chart template, and then go to your control center, and then save your workspace, and get it all saved. That way, those settings will stay there. That's all. Okay, well, we're getting into our last 10 minutes. Anybody have anything else? Anything else, TRX? Did you have any questions? Yep, I can. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to them. They've kind of just some of these things are just built over time, over an idea. Like this one on the bottom, I know there's a lot there, but it's just, you know, you get trading and your buddy's like, oh, hey, what if we added this? Okay, let's try it. Oh, hey, what if we did that? Let's try it. And then they kind of just build from there. And sometimes they get overly complex, but I mean, when you're there the whole way, it's kind of easier to recognize them at the bottom. Like with the bottom is just the stochastics, it's got four stochastic lines, but then we added money flow, and then we added R squared, and then we added these volume spike dots, and yeah, I mean, when you're there with it, it's a little easier, but when you first look at it, you go, what the fuck is that? It's just a mess. So yeah, so you use NinjaTrader enough though. You got yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you gotta realize that. One thing that I kind of like, maybe some people will find interesting, is the order flow VWAP. Now I'm building a JATS indicator, and it actually has one built in, so you don't necessarily need order. This one you need order flow plus from NinjaTrader, but I've built one where you don't need it. So here it is. So this is VWAP there, and this is 1 standard deviation above VWAP, 2 standard deviations above VWAP, and 3. So you'll notice if you want to look for an inefficiency in the market, if you can find a shift signal within that third VWAP, or sorry, between the second and the third standard deviation away from VWAP, those are some high probability reversals. So I have signals set to disappear after 100, but if I go into, oh, this is even an old version, hide signals after 0, which means it'll never hide them. And you look, give it a second to load here. You'll notice that, and I'm just using Vega bars. You could use probably like a Renko type or Gamma bars. That might be good as well. Just give it a second to load up. So you see right here, so here's a good example. 10 o'clock, it went into the standard. You take that first signal back, and then I don't know how far you want to ride. Maybe not up to VWAP, because that's like not always the case, but even to the next VWAP line. And then you'll see here it starts poking up between the second and the third deviation, and then you started getting these signals back down. So this is like a reversion. And then you can see here, well, this is chop, because it never really, it got to the first standard, come back, hit VWAP, got to the first standard. So then you could say, if I want to stay out of chop, I don't want to take trades within the VWAP or within 1 standard deviation. You want to wait until you're getting past the first, maybe past the second, to really find an inefficiency in the market. Now, of course, there'll be days where it pushes that third and it pushes it way up. So, I mean, those are trend days, and that's why you have your max loss for the day. But that's something that people would probably find valuable, is only taking trades when there's an inefficiency in the market. And it's my belief that once you're past the second standard deviation of VWAP and getting on to the third, there's a bit of an inefficiency there, at least for a bit of a pullback. Yeah. And then, so that's why, I mean, these signals are good. You know, the bear shift and everything, but you got to know which ones to take. They're not all going to be good. You have to know. They're good in certain situations. So yesterday, I mean, we weren't up and past that second at all. 1, 2, yeah. So, I mean, if you had that rule, you might not even have taken any trades yesterday. But, yeah, I mean, that's something that I look at. So I don't know if you guys all have order flow VWAP, because that's what gives you these standard deviations. But I do have one built into JATS Compass that I'm building. And you won't need to pay for order flow VWAP to have standard deviation. So, yeah, I mean, that's one way you can filter signals out. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Does somebody want me to set something up? Show data box. Eventually, we're going to be able to automate this. Once I do a big update on generator, you'll be able to read all these values. So you can see here I've got order flow VWAP. As I move my crosshairs, you see order flow VWAP, standard deviation 1, and it'll tell you the value 28, 839, 24. So what that says is you could set up generator to read these. So you could say, hey, I'd have to show you how to do it. But you could say, hey, I only want to take shorts when I'm above. I only want to take shorts when I'm above the second deviation upper, and I only want to take longs when I'm below the second deviation lower. And in this instance, I don't have to modify the indicator to throw signals. We can just directly access the values. And same down here at the bottom, I've got stochastic lines. So I've got 4 stochastics. There's a K and a D line, but I just watched the D line. So those are stochastic D lines on the bottom. So you can see here, D line 82.84, D2 49. So you could say, hey, when stochastic line D1, which is the fastest one, is above 80, I only want to take trades when it's above 80. So eventually we'll be able to access them directly through generator. So, and then I'll add a bunch of complexity. And I'll also add candle behaviors. So I could say, hey, if there's a doji, you would add another condition in generator saying, okay, well, it's got to be above the standard deviation 2 for short, and I have to have a doji within the last 2 candles. And then once I get my bearish shift signal, then give me a master signal. So there's a lot coming down the line for that kind of stuff. But anyways, okay. I don't know what else to do. Let's check the chat here. Okay, you're welcome, SKB. Alright, well, we're getting on to about 1 o'clock, but that was actually a pretty good session. I didn't know if it would be quiet or what the deal is, so hopefully you guys got some value out of it. Yeah, you're welcome, Dean. I'm glad. Hopefully you guys understand the states a little bit better now. I guess that was a big focus at the start here. And, yeah, I mean, if you guys got no more questions, I'll cut her off here, and we'll do it again on Thursday. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. And we'll do another one on Thursday, same time. Yeah. Yeah, and if you have any questions about how to do something, you can just write it down and we can go over it in the live. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for showing up. Take care. There, yep. All right.